What if I told you that some of the deadliest operations in modern history didn't happen on battlefields, but in boardrooms, laboratories, and quiet city streets? What if the real war wasn't between nations, but inside one of the most secretive countries in the world? This isn't just a story about Iran. It's about secrets being sold, assassinations carried out with chilling precision, and a nation struggling to protect its soul from within. Today, we pull back the curtain on the silent war no one dares to name out loud. A war where allies become informants, where information is more dangerous than missiles, and where betrayal doesn't knock, it walks through the front door. This isn't speculation, it's a series of deadly facts. And by the end of this speech, you won't just be questioning who the enemy is, you'll be wondering if the call came from inside the house. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is the shocking truth behind Iran's high-profile assassinations. And it just might change the way you see power, loyalty, and silence forever. Over the last decade, Iran has witnessed a troubling and targeted pattern of high-profile assassinations, primarily focused on its nuclear scientists. These killings have not only shaken the Iranian security apparatus, but also raised deep suspicions about internal vulnerabilities and foreign espionage operations operating with impunity inside the country. Among the most notable was the assassination of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, Iran's top nuclear physicist and often considered the father of Iran's nuclear weapons program. He was killed in November 2020 in what Iran described as a sophisticated and remote-controlled attack, widely attributed to Israel's Mossad, though Israel neither confirmed nor denied involvement. Fakhrizadeh was not the first. Between 2010 and 2012, at least 4 other prominent Iranian nuclear scientists were assassinated or severely injured in precision attacks, usually involving magnetic bombs attached to cars, drive-by shootings, or remote detonation devices. These attacks followed a consistent pattern: high accuracy, intelligence, minimal collateral damage, and a clear focus on halting Iran's nuclear progress by eliminating its intellectual capital. Such methods strongly suggest coordination by elite intelligence agencies with advanced surveillance capabilities and insider knowledge. These assassinations have gone beyond merely military disruption. They've psychologically destabilized Iran's scientific community and challenged the government's ability to protect its most valuable assets. The consistent success of these attacks also indicates that the perpetrators had not only precise intelligence, but possibly human assets embedded within Iranian infrastructure, whether planted, turned, or willingly complicit. Iranian leadership has repeatedly condemned these killings, calling them acts of terrorism and blaming foreign states. However, the undeniable precision of these missions raises hard questions about security protocol, surveillance leaks, and the possibility that some Iranian insiders may have assisted these foreign operations, willingly or under coercion. Even more unsettling is the fact that these incidents often occurred in areas considered heavily protected, including central Tehran, where multiple intelligence agencies operate. This points to deeper and more complex breaches in Iran's internal defenses, breaches that may involve long-term infiltration, recruitment of disillusioned insiders, or advanced cyber espionage that compromise surveillance systems. The pattern of targeted assassinations has sent a chilling message, not just to Iran's enemies, but to its own elite, that no position, no clearance level, and no loyalty guarantees safety when secrets are under siege. Iran has faced multiple internal security breaches over the past decade that have raised serious concerns about how deeply foreign intelligence agencies may have penetrated its most secure circles. These breaches are not just one-off events, but part of a larger consistent pattern suggesting long-term vulnerabilities within Iran's intelligence and military infrastructure. The assassinations of nuclear scientists, the sabotage of nuclear facilities like Natanz, and the mysterious disappearance of sensitive documents all point to the possibility of internal leaks, whether through double agents, cyber infiltration, or internal dissent. What makes these breaches more alarming is the precision and timing of the foreign operations. In several instances, foreign actors have struck at exactly the right moment, when key individuals were most exposed or when Iran was taking critical steps in its nuclear program. This level of accuracy strongly implies access to highly classified and real-time intelligence, something that cannot be achieved without assistance from inside the system. Double agents working within Iran's defense or scientific networks are a likely possibility, especially considering Iran's complex political landscape, where ideological divides and personal grievances can be exploited by foreign entities. Cyber espionage has also played a major role. The most notable example is the Stuxnet virus, discovered in 2010, which targeted Iranian nuclear centrifuges and reportedly set back Iran's nuclear progress by years. This malware was so sophisticated that it could only have been developed by nation-state actors, and it required deep knowledge of Iran's industrial systems, information likely obtained through insider access. Even more recently, Iranian officials have confirmed that their surveillance networks and internal communications were compromised, raising the possibility that intelligence agencies had remote access to sensitive military and scientific operations. Internal dissent is another factor. As Iran continues to struggle under heavy international sanctions and economic hardship, disillusionment has grown within segments of the military, academic, and government communities. Some individuals may be motivated by ideology, money, revenge, or the promise of asylum to leak information to hostile actors. These insiders don't necessarily have to be professional spies. Sometimes a frustrated technician or a desperate bureaucrat with access to critical data can do irreparable damage. The recurring success of foreign operations within Iran suggests more than just technological superiority. It reflects cracks in loyalty, gaps in vetting, and possibly deep-seated ideological fractures that make internal betrayal not just possible, but probable. Iran possesses a vast and multi-layered intelligence network primarily operated by the Ministry of Intelligence and Security, Mossad, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRG, intelligence organization. These agencies are tasked with safeguarding national secrets, monitoring domestic threats, and preventing foreign infiltration. Despite this formidable structure, the repeated assassinations of key nuclear scientists, unexplained explosions at sensitive facilities, and successful foreign cyber attacks have exposed glaring weaknesses within the country's internal security architecture. The failures have not only embarrassed the regime, but have also eroded public confidence in the effectiveness of its intelligence services. Mossad, traditionally seen as Iran's main intelligence body, is responsible for counterintelligence and internal surveillance. Yet, multiple security lapses suggest that even with extensive surveillance powers, Mossad has struggled to detect and prevent the infiltration of foreign agents or the actions of domestic informants. The IRGC intelligence arm, which often operates parallel to and even competes with Mossad, has also been criticized for prioritizing ideological loyalty over professional competence, allowing critical gaps in operations and vetting processes to go unaddressed. These rivalries have created coordination issues, making the overall intelligence structure less efficient and more vulnerable to exploitation by external actors. The high-profile assassinations and facility breaches further highlight systemic flaws in physical and cyber security protocols. In several cases, foreign operatives or assets managed to carry out operations deep inside supposedly secure zones. For example, the assassination of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh occurred in a well-guarded area using advanced remote weaponry, with no immediate response from security forces. The incident raised serious questions about surveillance, blind spots, poor reaction times, and a lack of real-time intelligence integration. These are not just random lapses, they reflect deeper structural problems that make Iran's security systems susceptible to sabotage. Additionally, Iran's internal political fragmentation has impacted its intelligence effectiveness. Loyalty to political factions often outweighs merit-based appointments, resulting in the placement of underqualified personnel in key intelligence positions. This undermines professional oversight and leads to operational inefficiencies. Cybersecurity has also lagged behind, despite high-profile attacks like the Stuxnet virus. Repeated intrusions into Iran's nuclear and military networks indicate that protective measures are outdated or easily bypassed. and response strategies are reactive rather than proactive. These consistent intelligence failures suggest a critical need for reform within Iran's security apparatus. The repeated success of external actors in breaching Iran's most sensitive institutions points to internal dysfunctions that foreign adversaries continue to exploit. Foreign intelligence operations inside Iran have demonstrated a remarkable level of sophistication, precision, and reach, indicating that hostile agencies have not only managed to gather intelligence from afar, but have successfully conducted missions deep within Iranian territory. Among the most active and effective foreign intelligence services operating in or against Iran is Israel's Mossad, which has been widely linked to multiple high-profile assassinations, cyber attacks, and sabotage missions. The United States, through the CIA and in coordination with allies, has also maintained a steady focus on monitoring and disrupting Iran's military and nuclear ambition. These operations have increasingly moved from remote surveillance to bold, on-the-ground execution. One of the most telling examples of foreign operational depth was the 2018 Mossad-led operation that reportedly extracted an entire archive of Iran's nuclear program from a warehouse in Tehran and smuggled it out of the country. This mission required not only knowledge of the site's location, but also detailed insight into its security systems, schedules, and internal layout, evidence that foreign agencies have access to highly classified Iranian intelligence. The operation embarrassed Iranian officials and revealed a serious breakdown in internal counterintelligence efforts. Similarly, the killing of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh in 2020 involved a highly coordinated attack using artificial intelligence and remote-controlled weaponry, executed without any foreign operatives on the ground during the operation itself. This pointed not only to advanced technological capabilities, but also to extensive surveillance and planning, likely facilitated by insider information or long-term human intelligence assets embedded within Iran's system. These kinds of operations would be impossible without local cooperation, whether through ideological alignment, coercion, bribery, or disillusionment with the regime. The fact that these missions often go undetected until after the damage is done highlights how foreign agencies have adapted to Iran's internal security dynamics, learning how to bypass its checkpoints, cyber defenses, and traditional surveillance. Iran's adversaries have invested heavily in understanding its internal politics, military routines, and bureaucratic weaknesses, allowing them to tailor operations with minimal risk of failure. These agencies have likely cultivated networks of informants or double agents, allowing them to anticipate Iranian responses and manipulate events from within. The repeated success of these foreign intelligence operations reveals more than just external threats. It showcases how deeply embedded foreign powers have become in Iran's internal landscape, exploiting every vulnerability and turning Iran's own geography, people, and systems against itself. Iran's ongoing economic crisis, intensified by international sanctions, has created an environment of desperation, frustration, and vulnerability within segments of the government, military, and scientific community. As inflation soars, the national currency weakens, and unemployment rises. Many individuals within Iran's power structures face increasing personal and professional hardships. These conditions have opened the door for foreign intelligence agencies to exploit economic and political motivations, offering money, safe passage, or protection in exchange for sensitive information. The likelihood of secrets being sold under such pressure becomes more plausible when the personal cost of loyalty grows too high. For many years, Iran has relied on ideological unity and revolutionary rhetoric to maintain control and protect its inner circle. However, with internal divisions deepening and faith in leadership eroding among parts of the population, not everyone in the system feels equally committed to the state's mission. Economic deterioration has made it difficult to maintain morale among civil servants, scientists, and even security personnel. This sense of abandonment has created opportunities for foreign actors to approach insiders who are disillusioned, underpaid, or fearful for their future. Sanctions not only cripple the broader economy, but also directly affect critical sectors like defense and nuclear development. Scientists working in these fields may face resource shortages, stalled research, and travel restrictions leading to resentment or a desire to defect. A foreign intelligence agency offering financial support, academic opportunities abroad, or asylum can become an attractive option. In these cases, the motivation to leak secrets may not stem from ideology or betrayal, but from a survival instinct in a collapsing system. The political landscape further complicates this vulnerability. Iran's internal power struggles between hardliners, reformists, and technocrats often create an atmosphere of mistrust and blame. This political chaos can drive individuals to align with external powers as a form of resistance or personal revenge against rivals within the system. In such cases, selling secrets becomes not just a means of escape, but a weapon used in internal factional conflicts. Foreign intelligence agencies understand these dynamics well and actively seek out individuals under pressure. They study their targets, identify their weaknesses, and approach them with carefully tailored incentives. In many cases, the transaction is not dramatic or high-profile, but subtle and transactional. Just enough information leaked to compromise a facility, track a target, or plan an operation, in exchange for money, safety, or a future outside Iran. Iran's internal structure is not monolithic. It is made up of competing factions, rival intelligence networks, and power centers that often operate with limited coordination. Within this fragmented system, various proxy factions and ideological groups hold influence, some loyal to the supreme leader, others aligned with the Revolutionary Guard, and some even leaning toward reformist agendas. This internal complexity creates fertile ground for espionage, miscommunication, and the potential for sensitive information to be compromised or weaponized against internal rivals. When factions operate independently with limited oversight or mutual trust, intelligence becomes both a tool and a target in political power plays. These divisions allow foreign intelligence agencies to more easily exploit gaps between factions. For example, the Ministry of Intelligence and Security, MOAS, and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, intelligence organization, often have overlapping jurisdictions but conflicting priorities. One might be tasked with national counterintelligence, while the other aggressively pursues ideological threats. In the absence of centralized intelligence sharing, foreign operatives can manipulate one faction without the knowledge of another. This decentralized control over classified operations increases the risk of sensitive data leaking through factional cracks. Proxy groups supported by Iran outside its borders, such as Hezbollah or various militias in Iraq and Syria, also play a role in Iran's intelligence and military calculus. While they act on behalf of Iranian interests in the region, they are not always tightly controlled. These groups may possess access to logistical routes, weapons, or personnel movement that, if intercepted or infiltrated by adversaries, could lead to the exposure of critical intelligence. In some cases, individuals within these proxy networks may themselves become sources of information for foreign agencies, either due to financial pressure, ideological shifts, or blackmail. The existence of multiple agendas within the Iranian state apparatus means that loyalty is not always to the nation as a whole, but to specific factions, leaders, or religious interpretations. This splintered loyalty complicates efforts to secure information and defend against leaks. If one faction sees another gaining too much influence or power, it might indirectly enable a breach to damage its rival's credibility or effectiveness. In such an environment, the traditional notion of national secrecy becomes blurred, replaced by internal espionage and infighting that weakens the entire security structure. These internal rivalries, once seen as manageable political competition, now pose one of the greatest threats to Iran's ability to protect its most guarded secrets. In the heart of a nation long known for its resilience, a new kind of battle is unfolding, one not fought with missiles or armies, but with whispers, betrayals, and shadows. The repeated assassinations, the silent breaches, and the unraveling of protected secrets reveal a painful truth. Iran is not just under attack from outside, but bleeding from within. Whether through internal division, economic despair, or foreign manipulation, its greatest vulnerabilities have been exposed not by force, but by infiltration. What we're witnessing is not just espionage, it's a slow erosion of trust, unity, and control. In this war of intelligence, loyalty is currency and silence can be lethal. And until the roots of these fractures are faced with courage and reform, the question will remain not just whether Iran is selling its secrets, but whether it's already lost them. Thank you for giving your time, energy, and open mind to this difficult but vital discussion. Your willingness to seek truth in complexity is what moves the world forward. May your voice continue to be bold, your message powerful, and your platform a beacon for those searching for answers. Good luck on your journey ahead. Keep speaking truth where others stay silent. Thank you. Stay aware, stay brave.